The silver ship cut through space like a knife through water. Inside, Zexthai checked his equipment one last time. His blue skin had a nervous shimmer, and his large eyes reflected the stars outside. Today would be his first time meeting humans. "Remember," said Captain Velcor through the communication device. "Humans are young. They might be scared. Be patient with them," Zexthai nodded. The Veltern people had met 47 different alien races. Every meeting had gone well. They always started with fear, then moved to friendship. Humans would be no different. The human colony called New Geneva appeared on his screen. It looked like a metal flower growing on the planet's surface. Thousands of lights twinkled in the darkness. Zexthai felt excited. Soon there would be 48 friendly races in the galaxy. "This is Diplomatic Ship 779 requesting permission to land," Zexthai spoke into his translator. The device would change his words into human language. The reply came quickly. "Unknown vessel, identify yourself and state your purpose." The voice sounded sharp, cold. Zexthai had heard fear before in other species. This felt different. "I am Zexthai of the Veltaran Confederation. We come in peace to meet the human people. We have gifts and knowledge to share." Long silence. Then, "Follow the beacon to landing pad 12. Do not deviate from the path. Any weapons will be met with force weapons." Zexthai looked around his ship. The only dangerous things were his medical tools. Why would humans think about weapons during first contact? The landing was smooth. Through his window, Zexthai saw human soldiers pointing guns at his ship. Their faces were hidden behind black masks. They moved like hunters stalking prey. Zexthai opened his ship's door and stepped out. The air tasted of metal and fear. He raised his hands to show he carried nothing dangerous. Behind him, his 3 companions did the same. "Welcome, humans," Zexthai called out. "We bring greetings from the Veltaran Confederation." A tall human in uniform walked forward. His nameplate read, "Colonel Morrison." His eyes were hard like stones. "What do you want?" Morrison asked. The question surprised Zexthai. Usually new species asked who they were or where they came from. Humans wanted to know what they wanted. "We want to be friends," Zexthai said. "We can share technology. We can trade knowledge. We can help each other grow." Morrison's hand moved to his weapon. "What kind of technology?" Zexthai smiled and pulled out his bioscanner. It was a small device that could tell him about human health and biology. "This can help heal sickness." "It can—" "Weapon!" someone shouted. The world exploded into noise and light. Human guns fired with sharp cracks. Zexthai threw himself to the ground as bullets whistled over his head. His companion Nethria cried out and fell. Blue blood pooled beneath her body. "Stop!" Zexthai screamed. "We have no weapons. We come in peace." But the humans kept shooting. They moved with terrible efficiency. They had planned this. They had always planned this. Genthor tried to run back to the ship. A bullet caught him in the back. He fell and did not move again. The 3rd companion, old Mekvel, raised his hands higher and shouted words of peace in broken human language. A human soldier walked up to Mekvel and shot him in the head. Zexthai felt something break inside his chest. These were not scared people defending themselves. These were killers who had decided to kill before the meeting even started. He crawled toward his ship as bullets sparked off the metal around him. His bioscanner rolled across the ground, broken and smoking. The device that could have saved human lives lay destroyed by human hands. "The alien is escaping," Morrison shouted. "Don't let it reach the ship." More bullets. Zexthai felt fire across his shoulder as one grazed him. He pulled himself into his ship and slammed the door. The engines were already warming up from automatic safety systems. Through the window, he saw humans placing explosives on his ship's hull. They moved fast like they had practiced this before. How many other peaceful visitors had they killed? Zexthai's hands shook as he activated the emergency launch. The ship lifted off just as the explosives went off. The blast threw him against the wall and alarms screamed throughout the ship. The humans were shooting missiles now. His ship's shields flashed as explosions bloomed around him. One missile broke through and tore a hole in his engine room. The ship started to fall. Zexthai fought with the controls as the ground rushed up to meet him. His ship was dying, bleeding fire and smoke, but it had enough life left to carry him away from the human city. The crash threw him against the ceiling, then the floor, then the wall. Metal screamed and bent. Glass broke. The smell of burning circuits filled the air. When everything stopped moving, Zexatai lay still for a long time. His shoulder burned where the bullet had cut him. His head felt like someone had hit it with a hammer, but he was alive. His 3 friends were dead, but he was alive. He crawled out of the broken ship and looked around. Tall trees surrounded him. Mountains rose in the distance. The human city was far away, just aglow on the horizon. Zexatai activated his emergency beacon. In a few days, Velteran ships would come looking for him. They would see what humans had done. They would want to know why. But as he sat in the alien forest, Zexatai realized he did not know why either. Every other species had been curious about the Veltarans. They had asked questions. They had been careful, yes, but not violent. Humans had decided to kill before they even talked. The wind moved through the trees, making sounds like whispers. Somewhere in the distance, an animal called out with a voice like crying. This world felt sad and angry, just like its people. Zexatai pulled out his camouflage device and activated it. His blue skin shifted to match the colors around him. To human eyes, he would be nearly invisible. He had come to learn about humans. Now he would learn, but not in the way he had planned. He would watch them from the shadows. He would see what kind of people could kill peaceful visitors without a second thought. The bioscanner had been destroyed, but Zexatai had other devices. He would study humans like animals in the wild. He would learn their habits, their thoughts, their reasons for murder. Maybe then he would understand why first contact had become first blood. The human ships were coming. He could hear their engines in the distance growing louder. They were hunting him already. Zexatai looked one last time at his crashed ship, then melted into the forest. The trees closed around him like a green curtain. Behind him, the glow of the human city painted the sky the color of fire. His friends were dead. His mission had failed, but he was alive, and he would learn the truth about humanity, even if that truth was darker than anything he could imagine. 3 days had passed since the crash. Zexatai sat hidden in a tall tree, watching the humans search for him below. They moved through the forest like a machine built for killing. Colonel Sarah Chen led the hunt. She was smaller than Morrison, but her eyes were sharper. She studied broken branches and footprints like an artist studying a painting. Nothing escaped her notice. The alien is wounded, Chen told her soldiers. It's leaving traces of blue blood. Small drops, but enough to follow. Zexatai touched his shoulder where the bullet had cut him. He had tried to stop the bleeding, but human weapons did more damage than he expected. The wound kept opening. How do we know it's alone? Asked a young soldier. Chen smiled, but it was not a happy smile. Because if there were more, they would have attacked by now. Aliens don't think like us. They don't understand that sometimes you have to strike first. She pointed to a map spread on a rock. We'll poison the water sources in sectors 4 through 8. Burn the forest in sectors 9 through 12. If it needs to eat or drink, we'll make that impossible. Zexatai felt his heart sink. They were going to destroy everything just to catch him. This was not hunting. This was total war against one person. The humans split into groups. Some carried fire throwers. Others had tanks of poison. They worked with terrible efficiency, like they had done this before. By evening, the first fire started. Orange light danced between the trees as flames ate the forest. Animals ran past Zexatai's hiding place, fleeing the burning hell behind them. The humans had set fires upwind. The smoke would carry toward him, forcing him to move or choke. But if he moved, they would see him. Zexatai climbed higher in the tree as smoke filled the air below. His throat burned. His eyes watered. But he did not move. Through the smoke, he heard human voices. Thermal imaging shows nothing, one soldier reported. If it's here, it's well hidden. It's here, Chen said. I can feel it watching us. She was right. Zexatai was watching, trying to understand these strange, violent people. They fought like they enjoyed it. They destroyed beautiful things without caring. But then something odd happened. A small human animal, something like a cat but with longer legs, ran toward the flames. It was crying in high, desperate sounds. It's looking for its babies, one soldier said. So? Another replied. But the first soldier put down his fire thrower and walked toward the burning trees. He came back carrying 3 tiny animals, their fur singed but alive. He set them down next to their mother. Johnson, Chen snapped. What are you doing? Just helping some animals, Colonel. Chen stared at him for a long moment. We're here to kill an alien that threatens human lives, not to save pets. Yes, ma'am. But Johnson smiled as the animal family ran away together. The same man who had been burning the forest had risked his life to save innocent creatures. Zexthai felt confused. These humans could be monsters and heroes in the same breath. The hunt continued for days. The humans never stopped, never rested for long. They took turns sleeping while others watched. They ate cold food to avoid making cooking fires that might hide his heat signature. Chen was always thinking 3 steps ahead. When Zexthai moved to avoid one trap, he found himself walking into another. She studied him like a predator studies prey, learning his habits, his fears, his needs. It favors its left side, she told her team. The wound is worse than we thought. It's getting weaker, she was right again. Zexthai felt tired all the time now. The poison in the water had made many streams unsafe to drink. The fires had destroyed the plants he could eat safely, but the humans were getting tired too. Zexthai saw them stumble with exhaustion. Their leader pushed them past normal limits. Why don't we just call for more troops? A soldier asked during a brief rest. Because this is a test, Chen replied. We need to know if we can handle alien threats with limited resources. Next time, we might not have the luxury of calling for help. Next time, she was already planning for more aliens to kill. That night, Zexthai saw something that changed his understanding of humans forever. A group of Chen's soldiers found a human settlement near the forest edge. These were not military people. They were families who lived off the land growing food and raising children. You need to evacuate, Chen told them. We're conducting military operations in this area. An old human man stepped forward. This is our home. We've lived here for 30 years. I understand, sir, but there's a dangerous alien in the forest. For your safety. Safety? The old man's voice grew angry. You've poisoned our water and burned our hunting grounds. You've killed more of this land in 3 days than we have in 30 years. Chen's hand moved to her weapon. Sir, I'm going to ask you one more time. Sarah, another voice spoke from the crowd. An old woman stepped forward. Sarah Chen, I remember you as a little girl. Chen stopped. Her face changed, becoming younger somehow. Mrs. Patterson? You used to catch fireflies in my garden. You cried when your dog died and I held you while you grieved. The old woman's eyes were sad. What happened to that little girl? For a moment, Chen looked lost. Then her face hardened again. That little girl learned that the universe is not safe, Mrs. Patterson. She learned that sometimes good people have to do terrible things to protect what they love. By destroying what they love? Chen had no answer for that, but she also did not order the evacuation. She turned and walked away, leaving the settlers alone. Zexthai watched this exchange with growing wonder. These humans were not simple killers. They had depth, conflict, pain. Chen was not evil. She was afraid, but fear had made her into something monstrous. The next morning brought fresh horror. Human aircraft sprayed more poison over the forest. This time it was stronger. Plants withered and died within hours. Animals that drank the contaminated water fell over and stopped moving. Zexthai's camouflage device started to fail. The chemicals in the air interfered with its circuits. Soon he would be visible to human eyes. He had to move, but Chen had predicted this too. Her soldiers waited at every escape route. Motion sensors covered the ground. Aerial drones watched from above. As the sun set on the 7th day, Zexthai realized the truth. The humans were not just hunting him. They were studying him, learning how aliens thought, how they moved, how they could be defeated. Every tactic he tried, they countered. Every weakness he showed, they exploited. This was not about killing one alien refugee. This was practice for killing entire alien civilizations. Chen's voice crackled over the human radio channels. Target is contained in Sector 7. Biological weapons are effective. Thermal camouflage has failed. Recommend these tactics for future alien encounters. Future encounters. She was already planning the next massacre. Zexthai closed his eyes and tried to contact his people through his emergency beacon. But something was blocking the signal. The humans had thought of that too. He was alone, dying slowly from poison and blood loss, surrounded by killers who saw him as a test subject rather than a person. But he was still alive. And as long as he lived, he would watch. He would learn about these terrifying, fascinating, contradictory people. Because somewhere in their darkness, he had also seen light. Dr. Elena Vasquez had seen enough. For 10 days, she had watched the military destroy the forest where she conducted her research. Ancient trees fell to human chainsaws. Rare plants withered under chemical weapons. Animals fled or died, all to catch one wounded alien. Elena worked at the civilian research station 5 miles from the military operation. Her job was studying alien plant samples that traders brought back from other worlds. She loved learning about life from distant stars. But this was not learning. This was slaughter. "I need to file a complaint," she told her supervisor, Dr. Marcus Webb. Webb looked nervous. "Elena, you know the military has authority during alien threats." "What threat? One injured survivor who hasn't hurt anyone? We don't know what weapons it might have, what diseases it might carry, what information it might send to hostile aliens." Elena stared at him. "Marcus, we've poisoned 300 square miles of forest. We've killed thousands of animals. We've made the water unsafe for human settlements. How is that protecting anyone?" Webb would not meet her eyes. "The military knows what it's doing." That night, Elena could not sleep. She kept thinking about the alien called HFY. The military said he was dangerous, but their own reports described him as a diplomatic envoy, someone who came in peace. She made a decision that would change everything. Elena packed medical supplies, water, and food into her research backpack. She told Webb she was collecting plant samples in the outer zones. Then she drove toward the military perimeter. The soldiers let her pass. Scientists often worked near military operations. They did not suspect anything. Elena parked her vehicle and walked into the poisoned forest. The smell of chemicals burned her nose. Dead leaves crunched under her feet like broken bones. She had studied alien biology for years. She knew how to track non-human life signs, and she knew how to avoid human sensors. It took her 3 hours to find HFY. He was hiding in a cave behind a waterfall. The water was contaminated, but it helped block thermal imaging. His blue skin had turned gray-green from sickness. The bullet wound on his shoulder was infected. When Elena appeared at the cave entrance, HFY tried to activate his broken camouflage device. "Nothing happened, please," Elena said softly. "I'm not military. I'm a scientist. I want to help." HFY stared at her with large, pain-filled eyes. "You are human." "Yes, but not all humans are killers." She set down her backpack and pulled out medical supplies. "I know alien biology. I can treat your wound." HFY did not move. "Why would you help me?" "Your people want me dead." "Because what they're doing is wrong." Elena opened a bottle of clean water and held it out. "Because you came in peace and we responded with violence. Because someone needs to show you that humans can be better than this." Slowly, carefully, HFY reached for the water. His hand shook as he drank. Elena cleaned his wound with antiseptic. The bullet had torn through muscle and chipped bone. Without proper treatment, infection would kill him within days. "This will hurt," she warned, then began removing dead tissue. HFY made no sound, but tears leaked from his eyes. Elena worked quickly, applying antibiotics and sealing the wound with medical foam. "There," she said. "That should help." "Why?" HFY whispered. "Why do you help me when your own people hunt me?" Elena sat back on her heels. "Because I've spent my life studying alien life. I know the beauty that exists beyond Earth, and I know that if we start with murder, we'll never learn to be part of something larger." Over the next few days, Elena returned whenever she could. She brought food, medicine, and most importantly, information. "The military is planning something big," she told HFY during one visit. "They've been studying your crashed ship. They're reverse engineering your technology." HFY felt sick and not from his wounds. "For what purpose?" "Weapons. They think more aliens will come looking for you. They want to be ready." Elena showed him classified documents she had stolen from the research station, technical diagrams of Veltaran technology, plans for new weapons based on alien designs, military strategies for fighting enemies among the stars. "They're not just preparing to defend Earth," Elena said. "They're preparing to attack alien worlds." HFY studied the papers with growing horror. The humans had learned more about Veltaran technology in 10 days than some species learned in years. They were incredibly fast at understanding new concepts, but they used that understanding for destruction, not creation. "There's something else," Elena said. "I've found records of previous alien contacts." "You weren't the first." She showed him more stolen files. Reports of 3 other diplomatic missions over the past 5 years. All had ended the same way. Alien envoys killed. Their ships captured. Their technology stolen. "My government has been lying to us," Elena said. "They told us this was humanity's first contact with aliens. But they've been murdering alien diplomats for years. Zextai felt the last of his hope die. Humans were not just violent. They were systematic killers who had turned First Contact into a hunting ground. "Why do you show me this?" he asked. "It only proves your people are monsters. Because you need to know the truth, and because I'm going to help you escape." Before Zextai could respond, they heard voices outside the cave. Human soldiers were approaching. "Dr. Vasquez," a voice called. "We know you're in there." Elena's face went white. "They followed me." Colonel Chen stepped into the cave with 6 armed soldiers. Her eyes moved from Elena to Zextai, then back to Elena. "Doctor, you're under arrest for treason and conspiracy with enemy aliens." "Enemy?" Elena stood up, anger flashing in her eyes. "He's a refugee! A survivor of murder!" "He's a threat to human security," Chen replied. "And you've been helping him. That makes you a traitor." The soldiers grabbed Elena's arms. She struggled, but they were too strong. "Elena." Zextai tried to stand, but his wounded shoulder collapsed under him. Chen looked down at him with cold interest. "So this is our alien visitor. You've caused us quite a bit of trouble." She pulled out a small device and began scanning Zextai. "Remarkable. Your biology is fascinating. We'll learn so much from studying you." "You mean torturing me?" Chen's smile was sharp as a knife. "I mean learning everything we can about your species. Their weaknesses, their fears, their breaking points." She turned to her soldiers. "Take them both to Base 7, put the alien in Lab 3, put the doctor in Interrogation Room 5. "Chen, please," Elena begged. "He's done nothing wrong. I'm the one who helped him. Punish me, not him." "Oh, we'll punish you both," Chen said. "But don't worry, Doctor. Your punishment will be watching what we do to your alien friend. I think that will hurt you more than anything we could do to your body." As the soldiers dragged them away, Zextai caught Elena's eyes. She mouthed words silently. "I'm sorry," but Zextai was not angry with her. Elena had shown him something he thought was impossible. A human who chose to do right even when it cost her everything. Chen had been wrong about one thing. Elena's kindness did not make Zextai think all humans were good, but it proved that some humans could choose to be better than their worst impulses. Even as they carried him toward a place of torture and death, Zextai held on to that hope. In the darkness of human nature, Elena's light still shone. It was small and fragile and surrounded by monsters, but it was real. Base 7 was built into a mountain. From the outside, it looked like a mining operation. Inside, it was something far worse. Zextai hung from restraints in Lab 3, too weak to fight back. Human scientists poked and cut him while taking measurements. They spoke about him like he was a specimen, not a person. "Bone density is 40% higher than human standard," Dr. Reynolds noted. "Muscle fiber shows enhanced tensile strength. This species would be very hard to kill in hand-to-hand combat." "What about psychological pressure points?" asked his assistant. "Still testing. The subject shows high stress when we mention the female human who helped him. Attachment to other species appears to be a weakness we can exploit." "Elena." They were going to hurt Elena to break him. Through the laboratory window, Zextai could see other rooms. In one, humans worked on pieces of his crashed ship. In another, they tested weapons on alien artifacts stolen from previous diplomatic missions. But the worst room was down the hall. Interrogation Room 5 was soundproof, but Zextai could see Elena through the window. They had strapped her to a chair. Electrodes ran from her head to a machine that monitored her thoughts. Colonel Chen stood over her asking questions. Each time Elena refused to answer, Chen pressed a button. Elena's body would jerk as electricity shot through her. "Where did the alien hide his communication device?" Chen asked. Elena's voice was hoarse from screaming. "I told you." "I don't know." Chen pressed the button. Elena convulsed in agony. "What did the alien tell you about his people's military capabilities?" "Nothing. He's not a soldier. He's a diplomat." Another shock. Elena's head fell forward unconscious. Dr. Reynolds splashed water on her face until she woke up. "We can do this all day, Dr. Vasquez, or you can help us protect humanity from alien invasion." Elena raised her head slowly. Blood ran from her nose, but her eyes still held defiance. "The only invasion I see is humans invading basic decency." Chen's face twisted with anger. She turned the device to maximum power. Zextai tried to break free from his restraints. The metal cut into his wrists, but he did not care. Elena was suffering because she had helped him. Interesting, Dr. Reynolds observed. The alien shows extreme distress when the human female is harmed. This confirms our theory about exploiting emotional attachments. That night, when the scientists left, Zexthai managed to activate a hidden tool in his clothing. It was a molecular cutter, designed for emergency repairs. Slowly, carefully, he cut through his restraints. His shoulder screamed with pain, but Elena's torture had given him strength. He would not let her suffer alone. The base's security was focused on keeping people out, not keeping prisoners in. Zexthai moved through the halls like a ghost, his natural stealth abilities helping him avoid cameras and guards. He found the base's central computer in a locked room. The human encryption was sophisticated, but Velterran technology was more advanced. His tools cracked their security in minutes. What he found in their files made his blood freeze. The humans had not just studied his ship. They had studied 47 different alien vessels over the past 20 years, ships from every major civilization in the galaxy. Project Starfall was the code name. For 2 decades, humans had been secretly capturing alien diplomats, studying their technology, and preparing for war against everyone. But that was not the worst part. The worst part was why. Deep in the classified files, Zexthai found records from 50 years ago. An alien fleet had attacked Earth without warning. Millions of humans had died in the first assault. Cities burned. Oceans boiled. The attackers called themselves the Hegemony. They gave Earth one choice: surrender and become slaves or die. But humans had chosen a third option. They fought back. The war lasted 3 years. Humans used tactics that shocked their enemies. They poisoned their own atmosphere to kill Hegemony ground troops. They turned civilian ships into bombs. They fought in ways that broke every civilized rule of warfare, and they won. The surviving Hegemony forces retreated to deep space. But their final message was clear. They would return with greater numbers. Earth's rebellion had marked humanity for total extinction. That was when Project Starfall began. Humans started preparing for the next invasion. They studied every alien technology they could find. They learned the weaknesses of every species they encountered. Not because they wanted to conquer the galaxy. Because they were terrified that the galaxy wanted to conquer them. Colonel Chen's personal files revealed the truth. Her parents had died in the Hegemony attack. She had been 5 years old, hiding in a basement while alien weapons turned her city to ash. Every human in the military had similar stories. They were not evil. They were scared children who had grown up in the shadow of genocide. Zexthai found video records of the original Hegemony attack. He watched human children burning alive in alien fire. He saw humans torn apart by creatures that looked disturbingly similar to his own people. The Velterrans were not the same species as the Hegemony. But to traumatized human eyes, any alien could be the enemy returning to finish what they started. Footsteps echoed in the hallway. Zexthai quickly copied the files to his personal device and erased traces of his presence. He was climbing back through the ventilation system when alarms began blaring. Someone had discovered his empty restraints. Lockdown! Lockdown! Voices shouted throughout the base. The alien prisoner has escaped. Zexthai dropped into a storage room and hid behind crates of supplies. Human soldiers ran past, searching every corner. Chen wants it alive, one soldier told another. She's not done studying it yet. But Zexthai had learned enough. These humans were not monsters. They were victims of monstrous circumstances. The Hegemony had turned them into what they feared most. Killers who struck first and asked questions later. The tragedy was that humans were preparing to fight the wrong enemy. The real Hegemony had not returned. Instead, peaceful species like the Velterrans made first contact, only to be slaughtered by humans who could not tell friend from foe. Through the storage room window, Zexthai could see Elena's interrogation continuing. She had been awake for 3 days straight. Her captors showed no mercy, but she also showed no surrender. Even tortured and alone, she refused to betray him. Elena represented what humans could become if they were not afraid. Chen represented what fear had already made them. The question was, which version of humanity would win? As human soldiers searched the base around him, Zexthai made a decision. He would not just escape. He would rescue Elena. And then he would show both of them something that might change everything. The truth about what was really coming to destroy them all. Because while humans prepared to fight the last war, the next war was already beginning. And this time, the enemy would not announce itself with fire and fury. This time, the enemy would come disguised as friends. Zexthai moved through the base like death itself. His wounded shoulder burned, but anger gave him strength. He had seen enough human brutality. Now they would see what a cornered alien could do. The first guard never saw him coming. Zexthai's tool cut through the man's neck before he could scream. The second guard managed to reach for his weapon before Zexthai's blade found his heart. Human blood was red. It looked black in the dim hallway lights. Zexthai felt sick at what he was doing. But Elena's screams echoed from the interrogation room. Sometimes violence was the only language monsters understood. He reached interrogation room 5 as Chen prepared to increase the torture device's power. Elena hung unconscious in the chair, her body broken by days of abuse. Chen looked up as the door exploded inward. "You," she breathed. "Me," Zexthai agreed, and drove his blade toward her heart. But Chen was faster than expected. She rolled aside and drew her weapon in one fluid motion. The bullet took Zexthai in the leg, spinning him around. "You killed my men," Chen said, advancing with her gun aimed at his head. "You killed my friends. Your friends were scouts for an invasion force. Just like you," Zexthai laughed bitterly. "Is that what you tell yourself? That makes murder easier?" Chen's face twisted with old pain. "I saw what your people did to Earth. I was 5 years old when the first wave hit. I watched my parents burn alive in alien fire. My people never attacked Earth. They all looked the same to me." Chen's finger tightened on the trigger. But before she could fire, new alarms began blaring throughout the base. "Incoming ships," a voice announced over the speakers. "Multiple alien vessels detected. All personnel to battle stations." Chen's eyes widened. She ran to the window and looked up at the sky. Zexthai looked too and felt his heart sink. Velteran warships hung in the atmosphere like silver death. Their weapons charged with light that could crack planets. The rescue fleet had finally arrived. But these were not rescue ships. These were conquerors. "Admiral Kethvar to Base 7, a voice spoke through Zexthai's hidden communicator. "We have located our missing operative. Prepare for immediate extraction." Chen looked at Zexthai with new understanding. "Operative? You said you were a diplomat." Zexthai felt the last of his illusions crumble. "I thought I was." The truth hit him like a physical blow. The Velteran Confederation had never sent diplomats to Earth. They had sent spies. Admiral Kethvar's ship landed outside the base. Velteran soldiers poured out, their weapons cutting through human defenses like paper. They moved with terrible efficiency, killing everything in their path. Chen grabbed Elena and held a gun to her head. "Stay back!" "I'll kill her." "Colonel," Zexthai said quietly, "it does not matter. They will kill her anyway." Admiral Kethvar entered the room flanked by guards. He was tall even for a Velteran, with skin that shimmered like oil on water. His eyes held no warmth, no mercy. "Zexthai," he said in their own language, "you have disappointed me greatly. Admiral, these humans are not our enemies. They are defending themselves against silence." Kethvar's voice cut like ice. "Your mission was reconnaissance, not diplomacy. You were to gather intelligence on human military capabilities. Instead, you revealed our presence and compromised our advantage." Chen stared at them both. "What is he saying?" Zexthai felt ashamed to translate. "He says my mission was never about peace. I was a spy sent to study human weaknesses. You see?" Chen's voice shook with rage. "You see what they are?" But Admiral Kethvar was not finished. He activated a holographic display showing the galaxy. 47 star systems glowed red. 47 civilizations have joined the Confederation, he announced in human language. All chose peace over destruction. Earth will join them or Earth will burn. "You mean surrender or die," Chen said. "I mean evolve or become extinct." Kethvar gestured, and his soldiers began setting up orbital bombardment equipment. "Humans are a disease in the galaxy. You spread violence wherever you go. You turn every meeting into a war. You cannot be trusted to exist among civilized species. We defend ourselves because we've been attacked before," Chen shouted. "By the hegemony, yes, we know." Kethvar's smile was cold. "Who do you think gave them your location?" The room fell silent. Zexthai felt his world cracking apart. "You?" he whispered. "The hegemony served their purpose," Kethvar explained. "They tested human defenses and eliminated the weak. The survivors would be harder to defeat, but also more dangerous to leave alive. You used the hegemony to attack Earth. Then you studied how humans fought back. For 50 years, we have been watching, learning, waiting for humans to develop space travel so we could eliminate them properly. Chen's gun shook in her hands. You planned everything. The first attack, the fear, the preparation for war. We planned to rid the galaxy of a species too violent to live. Zexthai looked around the room, at Elena broken by torture, at Chen driven to extremes by manufactured terror, at himself a pawn in a game he had never understood. What about the other 47 civilizations? He asked. Did they really choose peace? Kethvar's silence was answer enough. The peaceful Veltaran Confederation was built on genocide. Any species that refused to submit was destroyed so completely that no record remained. The galaxy thought the Veltarans were benevolent because they had murdered everyone who could say otherwise. You are monsters, Chen whispered. We are order, Kethvar replied. We are peace. When Earth is gone, the galaxy will be safe from human violence forever. But as he spoke, alerts began flashing on his equipment. Human ships were appearing throughout the system. Not military vessels, but civilian craft armed with weapons that should not exist. Impossible, Kethvar breathed. Humans cannot have developed such technology so quickly. Chen smiled through her tears. You spent 50 years studying us, but you never understood us. She activated a hidden transmitter. Execute Protocol 7. Throughout the system, human ships began their attack. But they were not trying to win a conventional battle. They were doing something far more desperate. They are ramming our vessels, a Veltaran officer reported. Civilian ships loaded with explosives. They are using suicide tactics. Savages, Kethvar snarled. Survivors, Chen corrected. You taught us that the universe wants us dead, so we learned to make our deaths expensive. The humans were losing the battle, but they were making the Veltarans pay for every victory. Ships burned on both sides. The space around Earth became a graveyard of twisted metal and dying dreams. Elena stirred in her chair. Her eyes opened slowly, focusing on the chaos around her. Elena, Zexthai called to her. I am sorry. For everything. She looked at him with eyes full of pain, but also understanding. You didn't know. I should have known. I should have seen. Admiral Kethvar raised his weapon toward the humans. Enough sentiment. Time to finish this. But Elena was not as helpless as she appeared. Her hand found the hidden device Chen had dropped. She pressed the button, and Base 7's self-destruct sequence began. 10 minutes to detonation, the computer announced. Kethvar spun toward her in rage. You would destroy yourselves rather than surrender? Elena's voice was weak but clear. We would destroy ourselves rather than let you study our corpses. The Admiral gestured to his soldiers. Extract all data from their computers. Take the humans alive for interrogation elsewhere. But as they moved to obey, the mountain began to shake. Human ships were crashing into the base from above, bringing down tons of rock and metal. Admiral, his officer called. We must evacuate. The structure is collapsing. Kethvar looked around the ruined room with cold calculation. Then he shot Elena in the chest. No! Zexthai lunged forward, but Veltaran soldiers held him back. Elena fell to the floor, blood spreading beneath her. But she was still breathing. Now you understand, she whispered to Zexthai. Now you see what we're fighting. Chen knelt beside Elena, pressing her hands against the wound. Stay with me, Doctor. The galaxy thinks humans are monsters, Elena continued. But monsters are what you become when the universe gives you no choice. She looked up at Zexthai one last time. Show them. Show them what real monsters look like. Elena's eyes closed. Her breathing stopped. Chen stood slowly, her face empty of everything except purpose. Admiral, she said to Kethvar, you just made a mistake. What mistake? You left witnesses. Before anyone could react, Chen triggered the final failsafe. Not just for Base 7, but for the entire planet's defense grid. Around Earth, hidden weapons came online. Human ships dropped their camouflage and revealed themselves to be far more numerous than anyone had guessed. Most importantly, other ships appeared. Ships that were not human. Ships from the 47 peaceful civilizations that had supposedly joined the Confederation willingly. You lied to them too, Zexthai realized. They think they are fighting beside allies, not slaves. The real war was just beginning. And for the first time, Zexthai understood why humans fought the way they did. When the universe wants you dead, you learn to make sure you don't die alone.